Hey, this is Coach B,
And Mitch,
and we are Sports Fantasy All In. We're back April 29th, live from NFL Draft Day 2021. Mitch, we're an hour away from the NFL Draft. We're one of the most exciting times in football. It obviously kicks off the start to the new season. We're finally here. I know I've been looking forward to it. We haven't done a football show in a minute, so we're back with just a fun little football epi just for the boys the ball rolling on the 2021 season.
let's go.
Well, we know we got about an hour till the puck drops in Toronto. Or what? We got about half an hour, so we got to speed this
Half an
up here.
hour
But
till the puck drops, bud.
we're talking football for 2021. I mean, man, every time the season ends, I'm already in next season mode. So, I've been
I'm
raring to
just
go for
disappointed whenever
NFL.
the season ends.
Yeah, obviously it didn't end great for the Hawks last year. The Lions, who I'm kind of the correspondent for on this show here. Obviously, we know how it went for them, and they're looking to go with a new recipe. Maybe go with that kneecap soup. That Dan Campbell seemed to be bringing, at least to the presser for the Lions. So yeah, that's.
Yeah,
I guess. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the Lions are gonna have to prove it before anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And also they have to prove to, I think maybe even convince or figure out themselves what are they going with a rebuild or are they trying to actually compete like they almost do every year when they should be rebuilding. So
Well, they just shipped
it's going to
off
be a fun
Stafford.
time. Yeah, it looks like they started in the right direction, right? We talked about it the last episode. Yeah, they definitely got some more assets for the draft. Who knows? It's a totally new regime in Detroit, right? So we'll see what direction they go. It's going to be interesting to see. Maybe I guess today we're just going to go over a few of the teams. I guess maybe like three or four of the teams that catch our eye, or maybe who you're kind of watching and what you want to see them do as far as the draft. You got
Hmm.
any teams in particular that I know we know that you're the Seahawks 12th man in here, but any
I
other teams
definitely,
that are kind of intriguing to you?
I can tell you that I definitely don't have the Seahawks on my list of intriguing teams. They only have three, and I'm not gonna be checking out them till the second round.
Yeah, I
But
think pick 56 or 58, something in that neighborhood there.
yeah, I think my first intriguing team, if I'm going to just rattle this off, is San Francisco there at number three.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, Jacksonville and the Jets, I feel they're going to just go with the quarterbacks. I want to see what San
they
Francisco does.
right. It almost seems like it's almost a guarantee for the Jags to go with Trevor Lawrence there, and then the Jets to follow up with Zach Wilson. That's at least the professional kind of consensus, right? At least what we're hearing.
Right.
Um, well, and it wouldn't even necessarily be that much of a surprise if we saw four quarterbacks go with the first four picks, right?
No, I wouldn't be
And
surprised either.
now let me don't let me you know steer you away from what you were talking about. You brought up the 49ers. Now, obviously there's a lot of speculation where they made the deal with Miami to trade up for that third overall pick, right?
Right.
And so now, we had all this rumor about, who are they going to take? Jimmy G looks to be out of there. Justin Fields, are they going to take Justin Fields? Are they going to take Mac Jones? Are they going to take the chance on Trey Lance? All right, because obviously he's a divisional two quarterback, so he's kind of regarded fourth at least in those rankings there. And
Right.
then obviously now, on draft day, me and you talked about it before we got on here. the drama circulating now with that just came out with Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, right?
Right.
And I'm reading a story here that it's saying Aaron Rodgers was convinced on Wednesday night that he was headed to the 49ers. So that must mean that behind the scenes, the GM or maybe the owner, someone gave him an inkling that, hey, you could be headed back home to California where you grew up watching the Niners as a kid,
Hmm.
and all of a sudden now this turmoil comes out. So pretty interesting things going on already, and I'll give
That's got
the
to be really disappointing.
yeah, absolutely. I'll give the floor back to you on the Niners. I know you just probably hate the nickname in general, just being a Seahawks fan.
They aren't necessarily my favorite team, but if I'm looking at them right now, I'd probably say that they're going to end up drafting a quarterback since the deal with
Right.
Rodgers fell through. Unless they are able to make another go for him, they're going to probably trade that first. So you never know. Maybe there's a draft day exchange where San Francisco ends up
Yeah.
getting Aaron Rodgers.
Well, absolutely. I mean, if there's still rumors about it, we are an hour away from draft time, or till the draft takes off, right?
Right.
Yeah, who knows what we can still see, until then. Obviously, yeah, the third overall pick will happen probably what, maybe around 8:15. I forget how long they
Hmm.
have per pick, maybe 10 minutes. So maybe a little longer than that, but at the same time, you know, that would be extremely interesting to see what Green Bay would do if, in fact, they did get that third overall pick, right? Because you got to
Right.
remember last year's drama in the 2020 draft where the Packers traded up was in I think it was in the first round, right? They traded up in the first to draft Jordan Love when, in fact, they could have got a wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers. They could have got him, any other weapon, maybe offensive line, right? They
Right.
went ahead and did AJ Dillon with the second round pick, right? So they weren't necessarily moves to try and help Rodgers there.
Hmm.
So that would be interesting to see what they would do with that pick.
If that move doesn't happen, though, I just assume that they're going to end up drafting a quarterback and move on from Garoppolo.
Right. That, see, that one actually seems like, yeah, the writing's on the wall, right?
Right.
Where Jimmy G, they brought him in on a big deal. It was almost like I think the rumor back in the day was that Brady was kind of the motivation to get Jimmy G shipped out of New England in the first place,
Right.
right? So now all these years later, they make the trade for him. They sign him to the 5 year, I want to say 100 mil, 120 year, sorry, 120 mil for 5 year contract. He brought him to the Super Bowl, right? Patrick Mahomes came back and kind of stole that out of his back pocket.
Hmm.
Since then, I mean, what has he done? Right, he's barely on the field anymore. I think last year he spent, I want to say the last 2 seasons he spent injured, right? So yeah, I mean, it played out the way it did. I think it's obvious that they're going to be moving on from him. Could there be teams that might want to test the waters? Absolutely. Another team within the same conference there in the NFC. Um, the Vikings, for all we know, they could be in for a quarterback.
Hmm.
That's a little further down the draft position, but there could be a lot of. And I'm just mentioning the Vikings because they still have Kirk Cousins to a pretty decent contract, right?
Right.
And he's still going to have the starting job this year. Maybe they bring in someone like Jimmy G for a little bit of a QB comp, right? See who looks better. Whereas because they have something like the 15th pick in the first round, and maybe they're not going to get one of those top guys that they want to draft, so maybe they're going to want to trade for him, right? We just saw Teddy Bridgewater traded from Carolina. Who did he go to again? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank right now.
Denver.
Denver, yeah, yeah, to the Broncos. So that's exactly what they did for Drew Lock, right? Bring in Teddy B. They only had to pay a 6th-round pick for him, which, to be fair, don't always necessarily pan out, right? Some guys do.
Which
But
makes you think, what is Carolina's plan for the draft?
well, you can't forget that they also traded for Sam Darnold, right?
Right. I did forget that.
Yeah, so that kind of made Teddy B the odd man out. Um, but if we're still on the conversation of quarterbacks, I mean, look at all the teams we can name. I know I can name at least a handful, maybe two right now off the top of my head. The Washington football team, right?
Right.
They're going to be probably shopping for a quarterback. They might want to trade up. You got New England. Right, the Patriots are obviously going to be shopping a little bit. There's a lot of rumors that they may trade up. I'm
What
hearing
about the
rumors that
Atlanta Falcons?
Falcons at number 4. Absolutely. I just think with them, right, I think they're going to be more of a draft a quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the other teams I just mentioned are probably be trade for one. Yeah, I mean, Cam Newton got signed to a lot more fair deal than a 1 million, which he had last year, right? So, you got to think that Cam's going to be the number one, but they are probably going to want to bring in like a Cam type of prototype, right? Like, whereas a guy like Trey Lance or Justin Fields, they can fit that mold, right? I think Belichick wants to adapt, right? He's a smart enough guy where he knows he has to adapt to what the league is. So, yeah, there's a lot of interesting teams, if
Mm-hmm.
we're and if we're going, top to bottom here, right? Like at five, obviously, you know that Cincinnati is not going to take a quarterback, right?
Right.
If anything, what they're going to have to do is protect their quarterback who they took last year. That's what I would think. Burrow had to do a lot of scrambling, running for his life as a rookie. He had a great rookie year. He impressed the heck out of everybody. If it wasn't for that injury, he might have beat Justin Herbert for rookie of the year, right?
Right.
That being said, they could also use some wide receiver help. They still have Tyler Boyd. They still have um, Higgins there, who they drafted last year. Do they bring in a Jamar Chase, right? The LSU stud wide receiver.
Maybe.
Right. He's hailed as the top wide receiver in the entire draft. So
Right.
I mean, who knows how it can go? But they said they're probably going to get some offensive line help, which is I don't think you could ever go wrong with that in the first round. Especially if you already have
Especially
your quarterback.
Joe Burrow. You definitely want to get him some help.
You protect that guy exactly after his knee was obliterated last year.
Right.
But
What's your opinion on Miami? I think they're really interesting because they have 2 picks.
yeah, I'm glad you asked because Miami to me is they're absolutely one of the you can't even say slowly. They're pretty fast up and coming team. I think they were 11-5 last year, 10-6. Um, they have their quarterback. They have Tua. They definitely need some wide receiver help, right?
Right, for sure.
I mean, off the top of the head, who do they have? They have Devontae Parker. Um, he's extremely talented guy. Everyone's kind of been waiting for him to break out. They have Preston Williams. He was second year player, pretty smaller guy, but he's a playmaker. So I mean, they have some pieces to go with. They have a decent tight end, Mike Gesicki. I think they probably have a trio of tight ends there who are pretty decent. I think the old guy Adam Shaheen out of the old Bear,
Yes.
but yeah, I mean, honestly, I think their pick would probably if it does go like that at 5, right? If the Bengals happen to take, um, you know, I forget his name, Penei Sewell. I think he's the top lineman, at least the top ranked lineman for this draft. So if it goes to the Bengals take the lineman that they need to protect Burrow,
Hmm.
uh, chances are Miami takes Jamar Chase, right? The stud out of LSU, and this guy was beasting as a junior, with Joe Burrow at LSU the year they won the national championship. So those two obviously have a great chemistry from their college days. Um, but yeah, I think it's looking like Miami might end up with him, and Jamar Chase with Tua could be a great combination, right?
How crazy would that be if Chase ended up playing with Tua, playing against Joe Burrow?
Yeah, I mean it can very well happen. I mean, the Bengals got to look at it in that light, right? Like, do they want to you know, go with the old college pair, or do they want to go with the right choice and just protect their franchise quarterback?
So what do you think Detroit's doing?
Bro, Detroit is a great question. I mean, you know, it seems like we're always calling Goff kind of garbage, but would personally, would you be comfortable moving forward with Jared Goff as your starting quarterback?
Oh God. Well, I've actually had a chance to watch him twice a year for the last 4 years, 5 years he's been in the league.
Right,
So, I mean, he's definitely given Seattle some trouble. He's a pretty sneaky quarterback in that in the system he was in with the Rams, they did a lot of movements with wide receivers running across and shifting the line and stuff like that. And you did a really good job at concealing the ball and almost having the players guess where it is.
right.
And if I feel like if the Lions can do a system along similar to the Rams, they could get some decent potential out of Goff. But if they're just expecting him to throw the ball up and down the field, I don't think that's going to work out well.
No, you're right. And the times when he has the most success is when he's comfortable in the pocket, right?
He can
And
be a damn good quarterback. I'll give him that.
yeah, he still has the arm on him. I wouldn't. Basically, the point I'm trying to make is that I don't think the Lions should even rule out quarterback.
Hmm.
But at the same time, they need so many other positions. So, I mean, who knows? For all they could probably use a solid linebacker. I don't know if if Jamar Chase happens to fall to them. Obviously, it's a godsend. It's probably not happening. Um, you hear the I don't know if you've heard of him, but the name Kyle Pitts,
Hmm.
who's kind of looked at as like a hybrid tight end.
Right.
All right, so I mean, it would drive the Lions fan base probably insane if they took another tight end this early, right? But at the same time, Dan Campbell, the guy who took over the team, he's a former tight ends coach, right?
Right.
So who knows? The draft is always full of surprises, right, on a yearly basis. At the same time, you got to think about it. T.J. Hawkinson, who we've talked about on our show before, he was back in the day. He was the replacement for George Kittle, right? And Kittle made that comment where that he knew that he was coming in along with what's his name? Noah Fant out of in for Denver there. Remember
Hmm.
they're the standout tight ends at Iowa, and George Kittle was leaving, and he knew he had these two guys on his heels.
Right.
All right, so imagine you pair a guy like Kyle Pitts with T.J. Hawkinson, and then they'd obviously have to run the two tight end set. You have DeAndre Swift there, running back. Maybe add someone late in the draft. Maybe try and find your James Robinson, right, to pair with DeAndre Swift, and they might be onto something. And then
Maybe.
you have Jared Goff, and like you said, he played in a tough division, right? So, and he definitely maintained. He went to a Super Bowl, so it's not, he's still a professional. I'm not going to shit on the guy, but at the same time, you know, for 2 years he's definitely serviceable. So I say the Lions should probably focus on defense with this pick. If they don't trade down,
You
maybe try and add a few more assets.
you can say it, right? You can say that you are looking forward to Jared Goff being the quarterback of your team.
Every time he runs, I think about Dave Chappelle when he's doing that rap with the goat feet.
All right, how about the Carolina Panthers?
Oof, Panthers. I mean, they traded for their QB, so they're not going there. They have Christian McCaffrey. They have Dave or DJ Moore. Um, I can't remember. Did they retain Curtis Samuel?
No, he left.
Yeah. So I mean, I think this draft's kind of loaded when it comes to wide receivers, right? So I don't necessarily see them going to wide receiver yet. There's a lot of names that you can probably get in the second, maybe late second, maybe early third, mid third round. So a lot of talent in this draft
I'm
in
thinking they
particular.
should probably go offensive line.
Absolutely, yeah. That's kind of what I was slowly make my way to. But yeah, I would definitely say they probably have to protect Sam Darnold and also you know clear some space for McCaffrey. Can't have him taking that much abuse anymore, no matter how you know jacked he got in the offseason, right?
Hmm.
I mean, he came into last year looking just chiseled at a rock, right? Like kid would look big, man, and he played like it, but he was taking abuse and some of those hits. Yeah, it's a fast game, still always going to be a powerful game, and he's got to kind of use his smarts and his shiftiness, I think, to make his longevity happen, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean Carolina, I think for sure they got to go O line. In one of the mock drafts I was seeing, he had a guy at a Northwestern possibly being projected to go there. So I think O line for sure could be one. Um, we going to Denver next?
Yeah, might as well finish up with 10.
Yeah, we in our preseason last year, we spent. I know I spent a lot of time kind of pumping Denver's tires undeservedly, right? I was big on I was big on Drew Lock. I was wrong about that. I was big on Cortland Sutton there, and he happened to get a bad shoulder injury, which is unfortunate. But obviously I was big on Noah Fant. His fantasy outlook.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think the aforementioned Cortland Sutton should be healthy this year. They still have they actually lost Philip Lindsay, so they're probably going to be adding some running back depth. I can't remember if they've added anyone off the top, or I'm drawing a blank on them. But they seem pretty set at wide receiver, right? They have four solid wide receivers, so I think they're set there. They're set at tight end. Maybe add another one late in the draft. This one for sure could be defense again. I think they brought Von Miller back. He's aging, right?
Hmm.
He dealt with COVID. Maybe they go linebacker. Maybe they go cornerback here. You have A couple of the big names. You have J.C. Horn is one of the names out of South Carolina, who's like, is one of the top cornerbacks in the draft. You have Patrick Surtain the second, right? His dad played,
Right.
so he's another one could go there. And then you also have Caleb Farley. So, I mean, I think it could be either one of those guys, maybe a linebacker. Who knows? Micah Parsons could be out there. He's a linebacker out of Penn State. And then I think and I think Denver's probably going to go. Chances are they will go cornerback because you got Dallas right behind them, right at number 10.
Right.
And you got to think that they're going to be going defense. Dallas is loaded on offense. They got Dak back. They have obviously Deke. They have Zeke. Austin Matthews, Deke.
Yeah.
No, but and then they're wide receivers, right? They got CeeDee Lamb, they got Amari Cooper, they have Michael Gallup. They're studly on offense. They have what's his name, Schultz there. Am I thinking the right guy? I think they have a couple tight ends there, and Dalton Schultz. That's who it is. So I mean, who knows?
I think you're
I'm
right though with the way that our defense looked last year. I think they're
yeah,
probably leaning defense for the first
pretty
round.
pretty suspect, right? They drafted Trayvon Diggs last year, right, in the first round. He's a cornerback out of Bama. Patrick Surtain the second went to Bama. Who knows? If they don't have their shot at J.C. Horn there,
Hmm.
maybe they go with Surtain. Maybe that's the guy they want all along, right? Pair him up with his old Bama boy. So, uh, yeah, I mean that could be pretty good.
It'll be interesting to see what happens for sure.
Yeah, I mean, all this talk about. I mean, that was the first 10 teams. Obviously, we can go on for days here about who can do what, right? But it's all speculation. I love that we got into it. Before the draft here is one of my favorite days of the year, especially for the NFL, right?
Like Christmas for you?
Well, not so much. I don't think I look at it the way Hendo does. He's probably already half of a 24 pack done. But I definitely look forward to draft day. I was kind of looking forward to it ever since free agency opened up. So, um, yeah, it's, just for your typical football fan, it's like it's finally here, right?
Yeah,
But
it means the
now that
season's starting soon, right?
yeah, dude, for sure. I mean, now that we're here, I mean, let's get into some of these rumors that we're hearing.
All right.
Like,
What do you want to start with?
well, I mean, look at Atlanta. Are you here? You thinking there's any truth to these rumors that Julio Jones could possibly be on the move?
I mean, think about how deadly, because I know we're about to get to this rumor that I told you earlier with the Patriots being interested in Julio.
Right.
Do you think about how deadly Newton and Julio Jones would be?
Yeah, I mean, but that's to say if Cam could kind of get that that cannon arm back.
Oh, dude, it's
So,
not. He just needs to be able to get it down the field. That's it. It's Julio
well, and
Jones,
exactly he needs the protection, right?
right?
But at the same time, it's like after what I seen last year, I'm really gonna have to see it
Hmm.
for Cam, right? Like I was a big believer last year,
Yeah, me too.
and yeah, I mean he showed his flashes, right? But he was a pretty big disappointment, I think. And I mean, who knows? Like you said, we're about to find out in 37 minutes what's going to happen. But Patriots could, for all we know, trade up for a quarterback that Cam's going to play and take under his wing.
Hmm.
Because Cam's not. Who knows? Cam might only have a handful of years left, and given his history, he might want to walk into coaching himself, right? Maybe Belichick gives him that chance. So it's a great time to mentor someone. I mean, it's he's extremely young to talk about that for him, considering guys like Brady and Rodgers are still going, right? Fitzpatrick's still going, so
Right.
and what I'm seeing on top of this Julio rumors, I'm hearing a lot of speculation that they're not even looking at going for quarterback with that fourth pick. People are saying that they think Matt Ryan still has a couple years of football still left. So for all we know, they can go with Kyle Pitts at number 4.
That is true. I mean, Matt Ryan is not a bad quarterback in any way. Like,
He's not terrible. No, I mean, he seems to be a garbage time stat patter. And I kind of just noticed that from following him in fantasy.
hmm
But it's hard to say. I'm not obviously I'm not a Falcons fan, so I haven't necessarily watched a ton of Falcons games per se. But I hear about this Kyle Pitts rumor itself. It's like they just gave away, I want to say, 2 draft picks last year trading for Hayden Hurst to Baltimore, right? And it's like, man, like, what are you guys doing here? Who knows with that one? But that's just, I don't know. I wouldn't even know where to start. I know that the Falcons are in extreme salary cap trouble, so I think they're probably going to be swinging 2 or 3 deals within throughout the night. But
what else we got here? Oh, what about the Aaron Rodgers rumor? I know you touched on it real quickly.
yeah, so Rogers, I mean, obviously from what I'm reading, is that he was tipped off that he was maybe off to San Francisco to be the quarterback of the Niners. Um, Obviously, it didn't happen for him, right? And now, they're saying that he's very disgruntled, and might sit out the year. Yeah, he can sit out the year, but he's what, 38, 39. Does he really have time to do it? You know,
No, not
you're,
really.
it doesn't seem like the greatest idea to sit out in your late 30s, right? So that one's hard to, that one's hard to say. It seems like there's been a little bit of turmoil between Rogers and the organization ever since LaFleur and company came in, right?
Right. And Aaron Rodgers did win the MVP last year.
Yeah, and he had an absolutely incredible year.
Yeah.
So, for all we know, this could be over. Maybe he's trying to give his input on the upcoming draft. Maybe.
Maybe it's something similar to Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. He wants more power.
Yeah, he wants maybe a little more input, a little more say, maybe a little more pull as to the decisions that they're making. Like, guys, I am yeah, you're paying me generously, so why wouldn't you want the mastermind of the at least the physical operation, to also have a hand in what is put on the field,
Yeah.
right? It only makes sense. So, um, yeah, that one with Rogers is tough. Now, it's that old saying where there's smoke, there's fire. It's like I'm almost expecting something to happen with Rogers a little bit. I'm kind of just hoping for it. They maybe LaFleur's looking for that reason to get Jordan Love involved.
Hey, maybe that's the plan all along.
They moved up to get him. He sat out the whole year. Rogers is the MVP. Who knows? You know, Jimmy G could be out though. I mean, and it's not fun. I hate the fact that the Deshaun Watson situation happened. All these accused of this and that. So that's kind of the only damper on the offseason so far, because I was also hearing rumors that there's a lot of interest in Watson himself.
Yeah.
previous previous to all the obviously the initial accusation and then the rest that followed. So that's just a really disheartening situation. Watson seemed like a pretty good guy,
Hmm.
at least from what we could see. So who knows? Hopefully that clears up. Whether he did it or not, I hope the truth comes out, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So other than that, but I mean, man, some juicy rumors. They're always uh, they're always fun to deal with.
It's been an interesting off season, that's for sure.
Well, and it's gonna. Speaking of interesting, it's gonna be pretty interesting to see what the Seahawks are gonna be able to pull off.
You got to think that Pete Carroll has something up his sleeve. They've worked some draft day magic in the past. We'll see if they can do something with 3 picks.
Yeah.
They had a
Well,
post that they released saying that this year's first round draft pick is Jamal Adams for the Seahawks.
well, I mean, anything's possible, right? And I think what they're gonna do is what they're gonna have to do is probably trade back and just get a few extra. Maybe trade their second for a third and a fourth,
Hmm.
or a third and a fifth, right? Maybe just to get those assets
They
and then
definitely
do it.
got a plan.
Yeah, they're probably just gonna have to try and hit some home runs on some, you know, late fifth round, sixth round picks. So,
And they've done it before.
well, I mean, yeah, the talent's out there. You got a guy like Terrell Davis who was taken in the sixth round. You got a guy like Tom Brady who was taken in the sixth round after six. He was a seventh quarterback taken in his draft, right?
What about, and if I'm correct about this, Richard Sherman, who was also drafted, I don't see it, fifth
I know
round.
he was a
There
late,
we go.
yeah, he was a late pick himself.
Richard
So yeah, there
Sherman.
you go. I think Cam wasn't Cam a later round pick, maybe a third round or something.
I think he might have been third round.
Chancellor, right?
Yeah, yeah. One sec, I'll look it up.
Yeah, I mean, bro, I mean, you can always find diamonds in the rough, and if we're talking more
Fifth
recent,
round.
yeah, look at James Robinson for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Now, albeit he's only had one good year, right? But you know, it's very possible.
I miss Cam Chancellor.
Oh, the guy was an absolute monster in the field,
Fucking favorite football player to watch.
hands down. Guy was just destroying. Remember that hit on Vernon Davis? I'll never forget that one. I felt that.
Yeah, that might be one of the harder hits of all time.
Not to stray too far from Aaron Rodgers. So I'm reading a new report here where it's saying Aaron has a wish list of 3 teams. Okay, can you guess the 3 teams?
Patriots, Patriots, Patriots.
That's none of the 3 teams.
Okay, I'll actually put some thought into this. Well, I'm gonna say San Francisco is one of them.
So San Fran was the top of the list.
Okay, so that's one. What about? Oh no, he wouldn't do that though. All right, I'm gonna take a stab at it. I get one more guess afterwards.
All right.
The Bears.
No, absolutely not.
That's I figured, but they
I
they
think
want a quarterback.
I think this stage of his career he probably prefer warmer weather.
Miami,
No, he's not trying to take Tua's job.
Jacksonville,
I'll help you out here.
New
So one is the
Orleans.
Broncos. Second one is the Broncos. So he was. I think Aaron likes to smoke, so maybe he wanted to go to Colorado. You know what I mean? Be a little. I think he's a bit of a free spirit, so that might have motivated that decision a little bit. And then his third team, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Damn, I would have never guessed those ones.
Yeah, so I mean, and that this article is coming from Pro Football Talk as recent as 1 hour ago. So I think we just got to wait and see. I think we're in for a pretty interesting night there tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Double.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, well, that was a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the final little rumor we can kind of joke about is that Tim Tebow was rumored to have a tryout with the Jags. So, and no, not as a quarterback, but as a tight end.
Is he done with his baseball career?
Yeah, I think he officially retired. He had a few. He hit his share of jacks. I'll give him props. Probably every single one was the opposite field, but give the guy credit for doing it, man. The guy's work ethic is through the roof.
Has he been on Dancing with the Stars yet?
I think you're spoiling his future plans, so we should just drop that one.
I'll see you there then.
Yeah, I mean, who knows, man? I think we're in for a great night. I think we're in for a great season. I mean, I don't know if you're in for your first fantasy football season, but I know you're on board at least for the info. Uh, Sports Fantasy All In, like we said at least a handful of times, we are a fantasy sports, mainly hockey and football information station, giving our genuine opinions, on situations going on and players, that we're targeting, adding, dropping throughout the year. Right, waiver wire. We'll do a weekly, maybe a little 5 game pick 'em. We can kind of have a little fun little competition between us.
I like that.
And yeah, we can kind of just compile a record of maybe go against the spreads or something, or even just do win loss.
But can you beat picking the Jets to take out the Rams?
That was. I wish we got that on wax because that was probably the call of the year last year. But I won a
Right?
little bit of money because of that.
And it's like one of few calls I actually made, and I
It
managed
was
to
a
get it
nice one.
right. I
I
was
mean,
pumped
you
about
know the
that.
game. You know the game, so it's like, right. Sometimes some of those things, some of those calls just fall into place.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, draft day, epi, just having a little fun. Boys getting the ball rolling for the 2021 season. I can't wait for it. Fantasy and real life football. Hopefully, we're gonna have fans in the stands. At least in majority, if not all, of the stadiums. I mean, it looks like the U.S. is rolling out their vaccines at a pretty decent rate, getting everyone their shots if and when need be, right? So hopefully, I'm praying for, I know you are, success and nothing less,
Let's go.
moving forward. So let's get it. We're 24 minutes till draft time. I know we're running 6 minutes late on the Leafs game.
That's okay.
Get you home here. I'm holding you up here, but I'm excited for this. I'm probably gonna be watching on 2 screens, the
Nice.
draft and the hockey game. So
Let's go.
let's go. Draft day, we're here. April 29th, 2021. Coach B and Mitch signing out just for the football epi. We'll be back Saturday for a hockey one. We'll round out our fantasy hockey playoff matchup. Humble brag, Coach B in the finals, not a big deal.
Yeah.
We'll get back to it on Saturday and see how she's going.
All right. Have a good night.
All right, Holmes. You too, brother. And good luck to the Leafs tonight, and we'll talk later.
Peace.
Peace, man. Good night, all.